If you are yet to join us, we are not going to be waiting. If you are watching us live on YouTube, good evening to you. If you are joining the class on Zoom Live, please do remember to have your videos on. Put your videos on. Let's see you. Switch your cameras on. Let's see your beautiful face, your handsome faces. And sometimes they used to say that ears are not as attentive as eyes, that the eyes can hear more than the ears sometimes. When I'm able to see your faces, I'm able to see some reactions, whether you're getting what I'm saying or you're not getting what I'm saying, it gives me some signals. So yeah, it's an added advantage for me when I see your faces. Also, it's a visual class. So, there's no visual class without, seeing each other. It's something we're doing online, and we said it's visual because we want to see our faces. So, if you have joined us, welcome online. Yes. Okay. So let it begin now. All right, we are going to be discussing academic reading tonight. It's evening where I am. I know I'm still on the same time zone with Nigeria, but maybe with somebody like Fafa and some people who are in South Africa or in Ghana. And where is that sister from? I can't remember. If you are not in Nigeria, good morning, good afternoon, good night to you wherever you are. Okay, academic reading. Academic reading. Academic reading is one of the, subjects or one of the modules of the IELTS academic test that you will have to do. And we are expected to have a total score of band 7.0 as nurses. That's the least you can have. The band 9 is not bad, or 8.5 or even an 8. So they're expected to finish this task in 60 minutes with a total number of 40 questions. And then here, there's no time given to you to transfer your answers, unlike the listening test. Therefore, answers should be directly written in the answer sheet provided as you go along. All right. Usually, the words of the reading text are between 2,000 to 2,750 words. That's very many words that you are expected to go through in this 1 hour interval. Taken from the topics of, general topics of general interest, they are non-professional. It's not about nursing or medicine or sciences or about arts generally. It's just from general interest, and it's non-professional. So if you find, peradventure, any unfamiliar words that is being used, there will always be a glossary at the end to explain and to tell you what that word is and how in the context in which it is being used at that time. And then in the course of your writing test, you will find out that there are various question types that you will see. You will see various question types. So we are going to be discussing the various question types today. Questions ranging from multiple choice to, summary completions, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given. About 8 of them or so. We are going to be discussing them one after the other today. So beginning from the beginning, we are going to be talking about the multiple choice questions. The multiple choice question. In both the academic and the general IELTS reading test, you will find this kind of questions, multiple choice questions. You are likely to be asked multiple choice questions. So there are different types of multiple choice questions, or MCQ as we usually call them, or as we call them sometimes. You will have one is having 4 options from which you are asked to choose one. To another type is to have about 5 options that you are asked to choose 2, and then maybe 6 options and you are asked to choose 2 or 3. You know, the most common one is when you have 4 options and you are asked to choose one. That's a very, very common one that you will find as you practice your Cambridge, as you practice your Baron or whatever textbooks that you're using in your practice. The most common multiple choice questions that you will find is the 4 options to choose one. All right. You may also have 2 different forms of questions, which is either for you to complete a sentence with a word or 2, or for you to answer a question. They can ask you to choose from these words what completes the question, the statement. All right. So generally, the MCQ test is the type of questions that is testing your ability to understand the main ideas that is contained in a text, and then to look for specific information. You will need to quickly identify the main idea in order to locate the section or the correct section where your information is in the text. And when you do this, it's like you will be automatically able to roll out 2 of those options, and you have what we call 50-50. You are left with 2 options that are nearly correct. 2 of them, they look like they are usually correct, but there's always a difference in them. So when you are left with 2 options, it makes it really easy for you to choose. And it's really dangerous because you can choose one side that is not correct, and at the end of the day, you miss out on the detail that you were supposed to have made. So we are going to be talking about the common problems with this type of questions. We'll talk about the tips, and we will talk about the strategy for you to answer this kind of questions. I hope that I am making sense to us. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah? Okay, so I'm still talking about MCQ. Common questions that we will find with MCQs. One of them is reading the text before you read the questions. Reading the text before you read the question. If you read the text before you read the question, obviously you are reading blindly because you are not sure what you are looking for. You are also wasting time because you will have to read the question again and then read the text again. So you have just wasted your time on the first reading that you did. Take, for instance, you are given a box like I usually use as an illustration. You are given a box or a basket of chocolates, and there are different names of the chocolates in it. Maybe we have chocolates that is labeled as Joy, we have Victor, we have maybe Mary, we have Samuel, and there are 5 or 6 different types of chocolates inside this box that we have. And then as soon as they give you the box of chocolates, you just go. You've not read the instruction they gave you. You just go and you start looking at all of the chocolates. You are looking and you are seeing Mary, you are seeing John, you are seeing Joy, you are seeing Victor. But then you come back and say, okay, I've seen the different types of chocolates that are here. Let me now go and look at my instruction. And then you look at the instruction, and the instruction says, pick out the chocolates that contain that's the name Mary written on it. And then you come here and you start looking for Mary. What happened? The first time you were looking at the names of the chocolates, and you had just wasted that precious time doing nothing. So when you see your MCQ questions, don't go and read the whole passage first of all. No, you are making a mistake and you're wasting your time. Read the questions first. Okay, read the questions first. When you do that, it gives you a focus, it gives you a guide, it gives you a nudge, a heading, as in you know what you're looking for. All right, it gives you a direction, and then you'll be able to pick or select the correct option from all of the options that you have. Okay, another common mistake that people make, or common problem, is that they are not answering the questions, not answering questions. It seems like an obvious one, but it will shock you to know that many people don't answer all of the questions, because there has been rumor, or many people think, or they hear it, or I don't know how they got to know that IELTS is negative marking. No, IELTS is not negative marking. Please answer all the questions, even if you are wrong. Okay, negative marking is not for IELTS at all. Nobody will mark you wrong because, or will reduce your mark because you got answers that were not correct. Unlike some exams where they give you your complete 40 questions, and if, for example, you fail 8, they will deduct that 8 from your original number again. That's what negative marking is talking about, where marks is deducted from your original score because you failed some of the questions. It doesn't happen like that in IELTS. So we even encourage people to guess. Yes, in your reading, in your listening. If, for example, you don't know what an answer is, you don't have an idea, please don't leave any blank space. Go ahead after you have done your best and have a guess. You may be correct, especially for multiple choice questions where you are left with 2 options. You know, you have been able to rule out 2, like I said from the beginning, and then you now have 2 options. Please, if you don't know the correct one among those options, have a guess. And who knows, you stand a 50% chance of getting the right answer. So you won't want to waste that chance, I'm sure. Another thing, or common problem with the multiple choice question, is being tricked by the examiner. The examiners love to try and trick you with distractors, what they call distractors. Detractors are things that look like the correct answer, but are actually very, very incorrect. When you locate the correct section in the reading text, there will appear to be 2 or more plausible correct answers. All right, those are the distractors. A very common risk is matching lots of words from the question options to part of the text. You don't have to do that. Don't match the part of the question to your answers, especially because in the reading text, or in the IELTS text generally, they are making more use of synonyms and paraphrases than you will see words for word. Okay, so you look at the context of the whole sentence, and then any qualifying words, like sometimes you hear words like most, like all, like always, you know, sometimes you find all of those words. If you see them, okay, qualifying words, they are more likely to be the correct ones than where you have word for word. Okay, you are more likely to get your answers correct where there are paraphrases and where there are synonyms used instead of the word for word. In fact, when you see answers, okay, options that are like they pulled it out from the text, please run away from it, because they are most likely going to be the ones that are wrong, except on rare occasions. All right? Okay. That is that. Also, one of the many common problems, also one of them is that people don't read the whole sentence. People don't read the whole sentence. You just see something like looks like is your correct answer, or you just say, I don't finish now, make a carry. You pick it and you are wrong. The first part of a sentence might look correct, but the second half of it might change the meaning entirely. Words like but and however can change the meaning of a whole sentence, okay? Examiners know you are trying to get the answers as quickly as possible, and so they will try to trick you in this way. For example, you are looking for the part in the passage that says that Joy is the most intelligent woman I have ever seen. However, she is very rude and stupid. Now, in your question, you are looking for Joy being the most intelligent woman. And then you go and say, you picked it. Meanwhile, the however, she is very stupid, has disqualified the answer. So if you don't read it all, if you don't finish that sentence, if you don't complete the reading, then you will fail the answer. Because when they say a however or a but or even an and, it can change the meaning of the entire passage or the meaning of the entire paragraph or statement. And when you look at the first part and you made your choice, you will get it wrong. Okay? All right. So related to not reading the whole sentence is also not reading the text carefully. Because there are so many distractors and some of the seemingly correct answers will appear to like jump at you. You know, as you are coming, the answers are coming, my dear. If you are coming and the answer is so obvious like this, looking at you, run away. So if you don't read the text correctly, you will choose the incorrect answer and then you will take, all those times choosing wrong answers. So I want you to take some time to really understand the meaning of each of the sentence. And that's what the multiple choice questions does to you. You need to understand the meaning of the sentence before you make your choice. Okay? So having said all of this, what are the tips? What are the tips? Number one is that you should read the questions carefully before you read the text. Read the questions before you read the text. By the text, I mean the passage, okay? We know it as passage, when there's a comprehension and all. Okay, so by the text, I mean the passage. You read the questions before you go ahead to read your text. And then because you are reading the questions before then, as soon as you see the text, you will most often be able to eliminate two of the four answers, and this will leave you with two choices. I've said it before. So think about the difference in meaning between these two choices, and it will help you to get the correct answer. There's always something, there's a clause, or there's like a but, there's a however, there's something that makes those two different. Two of them may seemingly, be correct, but on a closer look, you will find out that something, even if it's a verb, maybe a qualifying word or something, can just make that difference. So you rule out two, and the remaining two that are left to you, you take your time to see why they are different. And then when you finally choose your correct answer, think of the reason why the other one is wrong, and not just that you have gotten your correct answer. Okay, so if you are unsure of what the difference is between the two or the three sentences, okay, you can rephrase it in your own word. If you rephrase it in your own word, it gives you a better answer, and it does that for you in a quicker time. If you are running out of time or you really don't know the answer, have a guess, please. You will not lose marks for wrong answers. I will explain that to you. And you have a 25% chance of getting the correct answer if you have four options, and a 50% chance of getting the correct answer if you have two options left to you. Don't be tricked by the examiner's distractors, especially keywords from the questions that look the same as the text, please. Don't allow yourself to be fooled by them, because they are just trying to see how detailed you are. They are not tricking you to ensure that you fail. No, they are just trying to see how observant you are and how detailed, you are. Like, you pay close attention to stuffs and to instructions, and how you can also easily identify these distractors is going to really help you if you make use of these tips that we're discussing today. If you don't know anything about the topic, please don't panic. Remember that it is just a reading test and it's not a test of your knowledge. For example, you see a reading text on rocks. What has nothing got to do with rocks? They are not going to ask you questions that are related to these rocks, for instance, like they will ask a geologist. No, they will ask you based on the reading text that you have been asked to do. Try to predict the correct answer before you even read the text. This will help you to find the answer more quickly. Another point is this. Before deciding on your answer, always go back and carefully read the questions before making your final decision. in a class, before making your final decision. The answer will be in the same order as the text. That's one good thing. The answer will be in the same order as the text. What do I mean? When you see the answer to number 1 in paragraph 2, please don't go back to paragraph 1 to look for the answer to number 2. It's going down. They follow themselves, they follow suits. Like they walk hand in hand. How do I explain it? Like you will find the answer to the next one below the answer to the last one. Yeah, that's the best explanation for it. You will find the answer to the next one below the answer to the previous one. So don't go above it looking for the answer and wasting time anymore. You might be asked about both facts and opinion. Here, facts are things that are always true or cannot be disproved, but opinions are just what people think. All right, so we've got our tips that you should read the text before you read the questions before you read the text. All right, and we have just said it that the answers, they are in the same order, they're always in the same order. You will often be able to eliminate some options, so try and reduce all of that. All right, you try and give me a minute, please. I don't know what's happening here. And don't give anybody the location, okay? Sorry about that mixed up. So I was explaining to us what we have discussed about the tips for our MCQ. That you should read the text before you read the questions before you read the text, and then you will see that you'll be able to eliminate, 2 of those options, or 3, maybe, or 4, if it's the other options of having 6 and choosing 1 or 2. So after you have done that, make sure you have an answer. If you don't know the answer, please have a guess at the end of the day, because you still stand some chances, okay, of winning or getting the correct answer. If you are running out of time, have a guess. Don't be tricked by the distractors. Don't allow the distractors to take you away from the real thing. All right. Try to predict the answer before you read the text. Okay, that will help you. To go a long way for you. And then before deciding on your answer, go back and carefully read the question before you make your final decision. Your answers will be in the same order as the text. And you might be asked questions from facts and opinions. So you should know that based on your reading text, they may be asking you questions that are either factual or that are just people's opinion about what you have just read about. Okay, so having discussed this, how do you go about the academic reading task questions, multiple choice questions? Read the questions very carefully. Read the questions very carefully. It's still like a tip, but it's a strategy. You read the questions very, very carefully. You skim the text to get the general meaning. Remember that I told you that what this type of question does is that they test your ability to understand the general meaning, okay, of a text, and then to look for or to identify or search out or point out, accurate information. Underline any keyword that you may find in the question. Think about any synonyms about this keyword that you are likely going to find in your text. Synonyms, like, for instance, you see something like stunning in the question. You should be looking for synonyms like beautiful, like glamorous, You understand what I mean? So you need to underline some keywords and then look for the synonyms, because they are most likely going to use synonyms and then paraphrases as well. Predict the correct answer, read the choices, and then underline any keywords. Think about the difference in meaning between these different choices, okay? Then you read the text using these keywords and the synonym to locate the particular area that contains your answer. Then you think, about not only the options that you have chosen and is correct, but the other option, what makes them not to be correct. This is a reading text, and no matter what, you may not have more than 10 questions. You may have less. You can have 5, you can have 3, 6, or 7 that are MCQ. So with all of this that I'm telling you, how are you going to be able to do all of this in a twinkle of an eye? That's a place of practice. That's why you need to practice. For us, for anyone who is in this class now, your IELTS reading test should not come earlier than October. Because if you are even serious to practice. If you are in this class now and you are going to write earlier than October, and this is like your first time or about the first time that you are hearing about all of these tips and having to put them to practice, then it may be too early for you to write. That's because you need time to practice these things. It's not everybody that can really catch up things at a time, except if you are excellent and except if you are a fast, a reader, a fast, student like some people. If you are, good and fine. If not, if you are writing earlier than October, then I don't know. That except you have been practicing before now, and except you have been exposed to some of these facts before now, and it's something that you know and you are used to, that's perfect. But if this is the first time that you are hearing about these things, having to write earlier than October may be too early for you. That's just by the way. So you think about not only the options that you are choosing that are correct, but you think about the other options that are not correct and why are they not correct. That way you'll be sure already of the answers that you have chosen, and you will know of a surety that you're going to pass your exams. You go back and read the questions again, and then you mark your final answer. Any question on multiple choice? On multiple choice, no question. We are moving forward. The next one is matching headings. Matching headings. In IELTS reading test, you will be asked to match headings to sections of text. This type of question is testing your ability to understand the main idea of each paragraph. The other one was the general idea. Now it's talking about the main idea of a paragraph. You may be given like 6 or 7 paragraphs and you'll be given some headings sometimes. So headings are short sentences that summarizes the information in those paragraphs. And you have to pick the one that best summarizes the information in the paragraph as it is given. You'll be given maybe between 5 to 7 headings and asked to match each paragraph in the reading text to one. I have not seen a reading text that have more than 5 paragraphs for this particular text. There are always more headings than the paragraphs. So if you have 5 paragraphs, you may have between 5 to 7 headings. So if you have chosen your headings and you find out that you have extra, please don't panic, don't be scared, don't be anxious. It's normal for you to find that. Also, you will find that some of these headings are very, very similar. So what are you going to do? That's where your knowledge of synonyms and antonyms and paraphrases come in. All right? Okay. What are we going to be discussing about this? We'll be talking about, like we did for the other ones, the common problems. We'll be talking about the tips, and then we'll talk about the strategy. All right. So here I discovered that one of the common problems with this kind of question is the fact that there's too much information to get through and there's not enough time at all. You try to match a word or words from the headings to a word in the text. That's one other problem. If you try to match these words directly, you get it wrong. You will find some, of course, especially the ones that are not correct. You will find it with the headings that are not correct. And like I tried to explain it earlier on, if you see words that match word for word, run away, except on rare occasions. That's when you will find that that would be a correct option. Other than that, they are always wrong. There's always a clause. There's always, a word, a qualifying word or something that will make it not to be correct. Some of the headings also may appear to have the same meaning, but there's always something that makes the difference. Some people will only read the first sentence of each paragraph and they will not understand the main idea of the paragraph. Some people will tell you that read the first sentence, read the last sentence of the paragraph. They don't always carry the main idea. If you do that, you're going to fail. And then other people at some point spend too much time on one paragraph or on one heading. Please don't spend too much time on one paragraph or on one heading. That's because you have 40 questions all in all to answer within an interval of 60 seconds, 60 minutes. That is 1 minute and 25 seconds for each. Is it 25 seconds? 1 minute. How many seconds make an hour? 60 seconds and 30 seconds. 1 minute, 30 seconds for 13 or 50 or 15 for you to answer one particular question. It's always not too easy. Okay, so 1 minute to make 40 and divide 20 by 2. Yeah. So 1 minute, 30 seconds for each answer. And if you spend more than that on anyone, at the end, you know that you have got into the next question and the next time. And at the end of the day, many people have a lot of issues when they are not even able to answer everything. Already answering everything, we're not even sure if all of the answers are correct. So talk about not being able to answer everything at the end of the day. So don't spend too much time on one particular one. If you don't know it, please move ahead. Go on with the other things. When you have finished, then you can come back. Okay, now one of the problems with this one is the fact that the answers are not in the same order. They are scattered, unlike the MCQ. They are all scattered. So what do we do about this kind of question? One of the tips is that you should do it first. Do this kind of questions first. You know why? Because when you do this kind of questions first, you will get the general meaning of the whole text. Usually when you get this kind of question, what happens? It's not about the matching headings alone under these kind of questions. You will find many more paragraphs, other types of questions coming in that requires you to take a closer look at the same text, at this same passage that you are getting. What I'm trying to say is that you will get one passage and you will get to answer 2 or 3 different kinds of questions for the same passage. So when you see your matching heading, you do it first. Once you get your reading question, for example, is in front of you, open it, go to the reading, the one that carries the one that is about matching heading, do it first. This is because when you do it first, it gives you a general meaning of the whole text. Okay, it will give you like an understanding of the whole of the text, and it will help you with the rest of the questions that will require you to take a more detailed look at the text. Another tip for you is that you are not even expected to read every word, because if you do that, it will take too long. And you are not also expected to read just one sentence, the beginning and the last. So what do you need to do? You read the first 2 sentences and the last. The first 2 sentences, sometimes the first 2 to 3, and the last. Okay, in this kind of question, you are expected to understand the main idea of each paragraph. So a good way to do this is to read the first 2 sentences and the last. All right, you can also briefly look at the rest, but you don't have to read every word that is in there. Okay, another thing that you need to understand is if there are words that you don't understand, don't worry about the words that you don't know the meaning. You should only worry about the general meaning of the paragraph as a whole, not the words, not individual words that are in that paragraph. Because even native English speakers, British people, they will fail English if at all, despite being that is their language. If they do this, if they make this mistake of trying to understand every word for word, no, you just understand the general meaning of the whole of the paragraph. That will give you an idea, because the idea is for you to, give that paragraph a title. Do you understand? It's the paragraph you are giving a title and not the words that you're going to explain to anybody. Okay? All right. One other tip that I want us to understand as well is that we should be aware of synonyms. We should be aware of synonyms. Many students look for words that match exactly with words in the paragraph or in the text, and then they ignore the synonyms. For example, like I tried to say, first of all, if you see something that has to do with maybe, let's say, beautiful, okay, but the word you are looking for should not be beautiful. There should be other synonyms of beautiful, like attractive, like stunning, like lovely, like pretty, okay, like glamorous. Those are the things that you should be looking for. If there are 2 or 3 headings that are similar, please bring the headings beside the question, beside the passage, beside the paragraph that you are trying to give a heading. Bring it beside it, and then compare both of them, compare all of them to this particular paragraph. See the reason why they are wrong. Okay? Bring them there. You will find out the difference between the 2 headings. What are the keywords? That's how to find out. What are the keywords in these 2 headings? Okay? How does this change the meaning of this paragraph? And which of them best matches this paragraph? That is how you are going to be able to solve that problem of having 2 or 3 headings that are similar. If at the end of the day you still cannot decide which one suits best, move on. Come back to it later. The answer will normally be easier to find after you have matched some of the other headings, because by the time you have made options, you have chosen from the headings that you have been given, the options that you have left, you will easily be able to decide which one should match this paragraph. Please, I want you to ignore everything that you already know about the topic. You are being texted based on this text only. Okay? For example, excuse me. For example, you have a passage that is talking about the administration of intramuscular injection. I use this illustration a lot and it works. You have a passage talking about the administration of intramuscular injection, and you are a nurse. By all means, you and I know the process involved in the administration of intramuscular injection. We know that first of all, you must identify the patient, identify the medication, the right route, okay, and the right formulation of the drug, the right dosage, ensure that the drug is prescribed, all that process. That will all fall under identification. Now, you need to locate the area where you are going to give this injection, whether it is on the deltoid modules or into the gluteus muscle, either gluteus major or minor or wherever you are giving, or whether it is wherever that you are going to give this injection. Now, in the course of your reading text, for example, you now find out that they did not say all of those things. We know as nurses or as healthcare professionals that there is the need for you to swap the area. You swap the area where you are going to give an injection. You allow it to dry, and then with a spirit cotton, a spirit swab, and then allow it to dry. You locate it and all of that. You prime your needle, and then you identify and you go in there. Now, you withdraw to see that whether there is blood, whether you are in a vein or you are an artery, or you are just there in the muscle before you push your plunger to give the injection. You and I know that after giving the injection, you withdraw your needle slowly and you apply some form of pressure to avoid bleeding, all right, and to help it to stay in there for easy absorption. In the course of your reading text, for example, why I'm saying this is because there are times you come across something you have read about, something you know about, a process you are familiar with, and they are not giving you the particular thing that you know about this thing. Then you will go ahead and start including it in your reading text. And because they know there's a general knowledge of this particular thing, one of the options or 2 of the wrong options will be there in the heading. At the end of the day, because you are familiar with the topic of giving IM injection, you will go and choose that one even though it is not there. People make that mistake a lot. So you are only going to be tested based on what you are given in the passage. Okay, you will be tested based on what you are given. Only the text is what they are testing you on. Nobody is going to ask about your previous knowledge, so you need to learn and unlearn. In your exam hall, you unlearn certain things by forgetting about whatever knowledge, whatever previous knowledge that you have had about this particular topic in question. Is it clear to us? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
If you still cannot ignore it, if you still cannot choose an answer, just leave it and go. When you come back to it later, the answer will usually present itself. Another thing is this: don't read too quickly. Some people will advise you that students or people should just skim. You should just skim the text because you don't have much time. My dear, it is better to read and understand it and choose the right answer, okay, and finish, than for you to finish 30 minutes into the exam and you have finished already and you are choosing the wrong answers. In my own experience, this will make people not to understand most of the text and then they'll make mistakes. So it is better to do, little slower, a little bit, not that you should be slow, pata pata, a little slower, and actually understand what is in front of you than for you to rush. As soon as you get your questions, for those that have not written IELTS before, as soon as you're in that hall, there's this anxiety that overwhelms you. There's this thing that will make you, hey, will I be able to finish 40 questions in 1 hour? How am I going to do it? You're already scared. Okay? And because you're already scared, the fear alone has taken time. So the fear takes over your brain, the part of your brain. Remember the part of flee or flight, flight or whatever. When we talk about stressors and adjusting to stress and all of that, our responses, our reactions, how we react, maybe like a reflex kind of something. Okay? Flee, flight, reaction. At the end of the day, those things will take over the aspect of your brain that was supposed to have logical thinking at that point for you to write your exam and pass. Your brain is supposed to logically think about answers, but you are now thinking on the fears. Okay? And at the end, this is not going to help you. So some people will tell you to read very fast. Please don't read very fast because you won't even have any understanding of what you are reading at all. In practice, let me tell you how I do it or how I advise people to do it. In practice, don't be merciful with yourself. Set time. Just set time and make it look like it's exam situation. Before you know it, your heart will start racing. Hey, will I be able to finish? Or follow people online that we do, if you go to IELTS Zone, like I told you people during the listening test, the listening lesson. If you go to IELTS Zone, they also have reading. Okay. Their reading is according to time, it's ticking. The thing is coming up for you to read as the time is going. So if you do that, you will get used to the exam situation. You are doing it like you're doing a test. At the end of the day, you set timing, you set time for yourself, you set an alarm, and you will find out that no matter how good you are, you will be, agitated, you will be anxious at the beginning, then you start settling down. The practice is to train you not to even be anxious at all. I know everything about the exam fever. I've been to exams and I'm still writing exams. Okay, I'm still going through exams. A few weeks back when I did my training with the Cambridge University about being able to teach IELTS and all of that, the questions were timed and I had to answer A, B, or C. I have to type in some places. My heart was racing and I could not believe myself. I'm like, I tell people that they should not be anxious in an exam, and here I am being anxious in this exam. So what I'm saying in essence is that you may be anxious. It is allowed for you to be a little bit agitated about exams, but allowing that agitation or anxiety to take over your brain and block the logical reasoning part is what I'm trying to advise you about. So don't panic about anything you don't know in the general topic of the text. The IELTS reading text is not a test of your knowledge, and you are not expected to have a prior knowledge of the topic. So it's nothing for you to worry about. Don't read too quickly. Don't follow the advice of people that tell you to read too quickly, because like I'm telling you now, in my experience, it leads to people not understanding the whole thing, and then they make mistakes at the end of the day. So it is better to do this a little slower and actually understand what is in front of you or what you are facing, than for you to read quickly and then you fail at the end of the day. If your video is not on, I'm going to take you out of this class. That's a promise. So having said this, you should have also said, or I'm still saying it again, that you should look at the headings first. Just like the same thing I advised you in MCQ, look at the headings first, because this will automatically make you look for specific words. Don't look at, it's the opposite. The opposite, okay? Don't look at the headings first. I thought I was saying another thing. For your matching headings, don't look at the headings first, because it will automatically make you look for some synonyms inside the passage, inside the paragraphs that are before you. When you read the paragraphs first, it will already give you a heading in your brain. We are reading about production. We are reading about the stages that are involved in making maybe coal, for example. You are reading, and the different stages. Then in your brain already, you are starting to think that it should be the production of coal. As soon as you think that it is production of coal, and you get to where the options are, and you look at the options, and you see something similar to the production of coal, something very close to it, you will automatically know that that answer is correct, because you have been able to form an answer in your brain. You have been able to form an answer in your head and for yourself. It gives you like a goal. It gives you like a direction. Exactly. When you have read the question, you have read the passage first. As you are reading the text, you have a preformed, topic in your head already. As soon as you say it, you will know which one, because you have read it and you understand it. Is it clear to us? So having explained these common problems, and then talking about our solutions, what will be our strategy? I've said it already that you should do this kind of question first when you find it in your exam. And there's no other reason than the fact that it will give you a better understanding of the whole thing, so that even the other questions that you are going to answer under that particular one, you'll be able to do it on time. When you do this kind of questions first, for example, and then you also have multiple choice coming from the same passage, and maybe you also have like sentence completion coming from the passage. Because you have done this first and you understand what this question is about, you have a general knowledge of it, an in-depth knowledge already. It will help you to answer those questions faster. So the little time you have spent doing this one, while doing that one, you'll be able to cover up. Does it make sense to anybody? Sorry, I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to see whose video is not on. I'm taking them out of the class. Yes. At least we should start adhering to instructions beginning from the house. There's no need to be in a class that is a visual class when you don't want to be seen. It's fine. You can watch it on YouTube, like I usually tell us. You can watch it on YouTube. In fact, you at your own time as well. But if you're in this class, there's no need for you to hide your face. It's a visual class and it's being monitored and it's being recorded. So I don't want any body to make it look like we don't know what we are doing in this class. We do know what we are doing. And for everybody that have their videos on, it's not like we cannot, put off our own videos as well. I can decide to make it an audio class and you won't see my face. You won't see some of the gestures. Okay, that aside, Sorry about all of that. Okay. So when you see these kind of questions, I say do it first. That you should not look at the headings first of all. You should have a preformed heading in your brain, in your head, while you're reading it, so that you can quickly identify which heading is more correct in the course of your doing the answers yourself. So you read the first 2 or 3 sentences and the last. Okay, read the first 2 and the last, not one and last, or just one and say the first one gives an idea. No, that will not give an idea. You may still be able to go through the whole of the paragraph, but that should not take too much of your time. Okay, don't spend too much time trying to understand every word in the paragraph, because we're not concerned about the words in the paragraph. We're concerned about the general meaning of the paragraph. Look at the heading and identify keywords within each of these headings. Okay, then you can match any heading that are very obvious, okay, and you are sure about. For the others, you can write 2 to 3, anyone that is like maybe it looks similar to you and they have 2, 3 options, 2 options that looks like they are the same. Bring them close to that particular paragraph. Look for the keywords that are there. Find out why they are different. The difference between the two. Compare the headings themselves, then compare the headings to the passage, and at the end of the day, you'll be able to rule out which one is correct and which one is wrong. If you still can't pick one, please move ahead and do your work. You will do it later, because as you do the other ones, you get a better understanding of what the whole thing is about, and you'll be able to answer those more easily. Any question on matching heading? Any question on matching heading? No question on matching heading. Okay, we move to the next one. The next one is matching.
I asked a question.
But I asked if there's any question.
I didn't know I can unmute myself. I typed on the wall. Sorry, ma.
The difference between list of, I gave you the permission to unmute. When I start asking questions, you can actually unmute, and I can ask you to unmute. What is the difference between list of headings and matching headings? Did I say list of heading and matching headings? I'm a bit confused here. List of headings, ma, what do you mean by the question? List of heading and matching heading. Matching heading is a type of IELTS reading question. It's a type of question where you have paragraphs and they give you a list of headings for you to choose the headings as the heading for those paragraphs. Some call it matching topics, but it's not always correct if you say matching topics, because it's not just about topics. It can be a heading, it can be a topic, it can be anything. All right, so it is matching heading, matching the topic. Like in English language, for example, or in our what would I use as an example now? You're talking about maybe liver cirrhosis, and at the beginning we say definition. Okay, and liver cirrhosis is this and this and this and whatever. We say we now go to the causes, and there's a list of the causes of matching of liver cirrhosis. In the definition, they may not put on its definition. Okay, they just go ahead and talk about the destruction of the liver cells, the hepatocytes, and then they tell you that they say maybe 1 or 2 things about the signs and symptoms of it and put it inside a paragraph. And in that, in your matching heading now, in the headings, the list of headings, they put liver cirrhosis, they put hepatitis, they put maybe stomach cancer, and they put liver cancer, and everything that is there. Now, they have talked about maybe the inflammation of the hepatocytes, okay, as a result of maybe an infection by a virus. then we will know that it is called hepatitis. So the whole of that paragraph, the description of the whole of that paragraph will now be hepatitis. Do we get the point I'm trying to illustrate?
Yes,
Am I
ma.
confusing anyone? They
No,
won't
ma.
give you, they won't give you the topic. They will just go ahead and say something. Okay? They'll go ahead and say something. Okay, let me give you another illustration. Like okay, writing, getting an international pass. First of all, you have to be a registered nurse in Nigeria, and then you have an international passport. You write 1 or 2 exams in Nigeria, and then you can proceed with the other processes. And they give you headings, and they say maybe part 1, part 1 test, part 2 test. Me and you know that the part 2 is from the CBT to the OSCE in the processes to be a UKRN. But being a registered nurse in your home country, getting an international passport, writing the English exam is all part of the part 1 test, part 1 exams, or part 1 process to becoming a nurse in the United Kingdom. So all of that they have put together, there's no heading for it. They now went to a particular place and put different headings. For that particular paragraph now, what you are going to choose for it is the part 1. Part 1 test of competency, because that is all of the information that is contained there. In the course of reading it, you may find IELTS written in there, and you don't know the meaning of IELTS. And I'm telling you now that you don't have to be concerned about the meaning of IELTS that is in that paragraph. What I want you to understand is the whole of the paragraph as something, the paragraph as a whole, so that you will understand the meaning of the paragraph. The meaning of the paragraph is the first part of your test to becoming a UK registered nurse. It's not about IELTS. It's not about CBT. Those are single bodies that have been put together inside that paragraph. So matching heading is dealing with information in a paragraph, the whole of the meaning of the paragraph. That's what it is. I explained this using, what is it called? The, let's say we use the same illustration of giving an IM injection. They will go ahead and tell you identifying the right route of the medication, identifying that the patient is correct, identifying or locating the particular area of injection, and all and all and all. And then you go there, you will see intramuscular injection. You will see oral injection, oral parenteral route. You will see enteral and parenteral, for instance. The answer will be parenteral, because it is not enteral, it's not oral. They have mentioned an injection there that has given you a clue to what they are talking about. So identifying the particular route for that injection may be IV or maybe IM. So now the headings is now saying enteral and parenteral. Which one are you going to choose? Parenteral, because it is going into the blood directly, either by a vein or by the muscles. It is not enteral, it's not going through the mouth. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's the meaning of the whole of the paragraph itself that they are talking about. They are not asking you the meaning of injection picked from it, or the meaning of a muscle or a particular vein picked from that passage. No, it is the meaning, the whole of the meaning of the context of that paragraph as a whole. That's what they're asking you. So they have explained these paragraphs, different paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They want you to read each of the paragraph and give it a title, give it a topic. We did a writing task 1, and then there was a process graph. That's what's coming to my mind. And that's the last illustration I will give. If you still don't understand, then I don't know. The process graph where we talked about the first stage, where there is the pouring of the belly into whatever, the malted belly, you pour it into a particular container so that you can remove, the back from it and all of that. You deshell it and then they mash it, okay? And then there are different processes. I explained to us when we're doing writing task 1 that you divide these processes into 2 or 3, and then you identify a start point for you to begin with, okay? Now you have identified a start point and you have joined 3 or 4 processes as your first paragraph. They are now telling you what is the meaning of that your first paragraph. The meaning of that first paragraph, what will you say it is? I can say it is the matching of malted barley. Of course, it's not the packaging yet because the packaging is still far. But in the options, you will find packaging. In the options, you will find milling. In the options, you will find matching. In the options, you will find fermentation, all the processes that are involved. So the particular passage that is discussing the process, they want you to identify that particular process. What is that process called? Finally, there are 3 trimesters in pregnancy. We have the first trimester, the second trimester, and the third trimester. The first trimester is where pregnancy happens. Once there's fertilization, there's what we call implantation in midwifery, and then at the end of the day, the multiplication from 2 cells to 4 cells to 8, to 16 to 32, and then it becomes like a morula, okay? And then it goes on to talk about the signs and symptoms that the woman will see, from the tenderness of the breast to feeling like throwing up and all of that, to changes in the blood as well, where there's hemodilution and all of that, feeling faint, low blood pressure, all of that happens in the first trimester. Now, the second trimester is where she becomes a little bit more comfortable, except when she has some issues with her health or maybe underlying issues, and she will still be sick. Usually, for those people that vomit, it stops at the end of the first trimester towards the beginning of the second trimester. So they have now said all the signs and symptoms that happens in the first trimester. They will now say the symptoms of the second trimester as well, and then say the symptoms of the third trimester where delivery takes place and all. Now, they have had a heading. In your first paragraph, is talking about the fertilization. Say fertilization occurs, multiplication of cells, formation of morula, implantation of whatever, and cessation of menses eventually. What is that? First trimester of pregnancy, that will be your topic. Am I correct? Don't worry, I'm also a midwife. I'm a midwife as well.
Yes, ma, you are correct, ma.
Okay, so what will you say that is? That is first trimester. That will be the topic, okay? That will be the topic for that particular paragraph. That's just simply what they're asking you about. That is what we mean by matching heading, okay? Get the meaning. They are not asking you vomiting. Am I correct? So, for instance, in the course of the options, they will now come and put in it, they'll put hyperemesis. Is hyperemesis any answer in that place? No, it's not an answer, because they are talking about the trimesters. So you choose either first, second, or third to give, a meaning to your paragraph. That is all. I've finished though. I'm not explaining that particular one again.
Thank you, ma.
You're welcome.
Well understood.
Thank you. All right. So we'll go to matching information now. We're finished with matching heading. We are going to see a slight difference here. In matching heading, you are matching the heading to the paragraphs, okay? You are giving it a title, you are giving it a name. You are picking something to tell me this is what this paragraph is all about. That's what you're doing in matching heading. But in matching sentence, what are you going to do? You are to match statements to the paragraphs. You match statements to the paragraphs in the reading text. The statement could be a reason. It could be a description. It could be a summary, okay? It could be a definition. It could be facts. It could be an explanation. What they are does not really matter. You are just expected to match it. You are not expected to have any specialist knowledge in this reading test, okay? You do not need to understand what the whole paragraph is about this time around. Remember that I said in matching topic, in matching heading, you must know what the whole paragraph is about. Here, you are not expected to know what the whole paragraph is about. Just choose for me a statement. Sometimes we will see questions that has to do with maybe somebody making an assumption, somebody saying something, a theory by so and so person. At the end, you go and see a list of names. Has anybody come across that kind of question? Has anybody come across that kind of question?
Yes,
You are
ma.
matching
Yes,
an
ma.
information to this person. You are matching a particular information to this particular person. We see it a lot. There are many of them in Cambridge. If you go to Cambridge 12, 13, 14, practice with those ones. They are the recent ones. They will help you. All right. So that is matching information. That's one difference. Matching information has to do with statement. And in matching information, you have to read everything. Matching heading, I said you should just know what the topic is about. In matching information, you have to read everything because you don't know which particular information you are going to be asked about. All right. That is one difference. So what do you do? What do you do? Before then, you should know that there will normally be more paragraphs than the questions we ask you. So when you have seen that there are some paragraphs you didn't touch at all, don't worry. In matching heading, I said there will be more headings than the paragraphs. Here now, there will be more paragraphs than the questions. So don't worry if some of the paragraphs do not contain any information at all that you are looking for. Also, you should not worry if you find more than one answer in one paragraph. And that's the reason why you should read everything. Okay? You can find more than one answer in a particular. In fact, you may find 2, 3 answers in the paragraphs. Don't worry. Don't say, this paragraph, okay, what about this one? So there is no answer from this one. Am I sure I'm correct at all? You are correct. Just do it and go your way. You should know that the answers here do not appear as the same in the same order like the questions will appear. Okay, unlike the multiple choice, it do not appear in the same order. Here, you need all the reading skills. You must first have to be able to skim the reading text to get a general meaning of the passage. That's why I said that you should do the other one first, because when you do the other one first, it has given you the general meaning of the passage. Do you understand? Now you are going to look for specific information. So looking for specific information, you already know which area you are going to look for an information because you have a general meaning of all of the paragraphs. Do you get my point? So it makes your work quicker. It makes it faster. It makes you able to identify your answers easily. You have to also scan. After you have skimmed, you have to scan for specific words within the paragraph. It's more likely that you'll be looking for synonyms. Remember the use of synonyms. What are synonyms? Different words, but same meaning. And they will not change the meaning of the whole thing. These are words that you use, okay, different from the original words, but do not change the meaning of the passage or the statement or the paragraph. And then be looking for paraphrases as well, rather than for you to look for same keywords. No, you can't find keywords from the question statement. When you have found the words or phrases you think might give you the correct answer, you might have to read very carefully again in order to fully understand the meaning, to be able to decide if they are really correct answers or not. What are the common problems in this kind of question types? One of the biggest problems here is the fact that you need to look at the whole text, so it's time taking. And that's why it's better for you to do the matching headings first, so that you would have had a general knowledge. That way, you can only scan for specific information. You don't need to skim again. So you have skipped that stage and you have saved some time. In other words, the time that you use for the other one, you are coming to this one to come and cover for it. This is because your answer can be anywhere in the text and they do not come in order. So it takes a little bit of time. Also, the answers might not be the main idea of each paragraph. Normally, paragraphs contain one main idea, isn't it? Okay, and then reading the first and the last line of the paragraph will give you the main idea. But here, it's not going to give you any help. That's why you must do the other ones first. If you find questions, the same questions, matching heading, matching information, you need to do the matching heading first before you come and do the matching information. There's also lots of irrelevant information that you don't need. So it takes a lot of time. The strategy that I'm going to give you is to help you just to, identify. The main strategy will be in your practice. The more you practice, the more you get used to these questions, the easier it becomes for you to answer them. All right. You should also note that not all of the paragraphs contain answers. So, and then you will now waste your time reading the paragraph. That's the more reason why you need to be very, very careful and fast as well. And that's the more reason why you need to have done the other part of the question first, so that if you have done that one first, you will know that this particular paragraph, nothing is related to it in this one, and then you skip it and you save yourself some time. How do you do this kind of question? Do it last. Do matching information first. Do matching heading first. Do matching information last. Because when you have done all the other questions that are concerned or connected to this particular passage, you would have had almost every bit. You would already know every bit, every detail in this passage. So going to do your matching information will give you speed, okay, in doing it. Try to find names, places, numbers in the questions, because they are often very easy. They are easier to find. And then, as per your synonyms, be very, very aware that there are synonyms that will be very, very confusing, but you need to easily locate them. For example, when we have 34%, 34% as in 3 and 4 and the sign of percentage. Okay? And then in the course of your questions, you now find just over a third. They didn't even mention percentage at all. At least, to some people, they say 34%. Now they'll be looking for, okay, I saw 34%, as in 3 and 4 percentage sign. At least I should be able to see 34% as in 30, THIRTY, and then FOUR, and percent written in words. That should help. But you can see just a little over a third. 34% is just a little over a third, isn't it? Just a little. Or just about a third, sorry. Just about a third. Just a little. Just about a third. Just over a third. Just about a third. And then you are like, there's nothing like this in this passage. Oh. Where is this synonym coming from? But you saw 34%. So you need to be careful with synonyms. All right? Now, this is what I would suggest as my strategy. Straight from my heart. Read the instructions very carefully. Be very careful with the instructions. Read the questions first, like you will read the questions in multiple choice. Read the questions first. Think about synonyms and how you can paraphrase the question, the statement. This will help you to identify the answer because you already have a paraphrase in your mind. So that will give you an idea. When you see another paraphrase, you'll be able to understand it better. And then saying each statement in your own words will help you a great deal. Quickly skim the reading text to try to predict which paragraph contains the answer. Then you scan, okay, which part you think will contain the answer. Then if it is correct, choose it. If it is not correct and you don't have an answer yet, move to the other things. Do it and come back to it. Any question? Any question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's a question.
Okay.
My question is this: as regards to that, the one you advise us to do first, the matching headings, since it will give us clue to other questions. What if in the case where you've noticed that each time you do it, in fact, most times you do that matching heading first, out of 6, maybe you're scoring highest 2. What would be your advice? Practice more.
What would be my advice to you is that then, if it's not working for you, you can try it the other way around. You can do the other questions first, because you can imagine that you have done matching heading first, you have wasted all your time on matching heading, and then you score just a 2 out of 6. So you can do other things first. Like I try to tell people as much as possible, all of these strategies are not definite that it must be what it is. Some people for reading, they don't need any help. They can read and they can pass sharply. They know reading is not their problem. Okay? Some people, listening is their problem. Ability to concentrate. Then understanding the tongues and the intonations and the pronunciations, that is their own problem. Some people, it is writing. So if you, in writing, you have seen that these strategies that we are giving or that you are reading in books or you are hearing is not working for you, why don't you try other things? Maybe the aim is to pass IELTS. It's not about whether you use one strategy or you use whatever strategy that you have used and you have successfully passed your IELTS. That is what I want to hear. Do you understand? So if you find out that doing it first is not helping you, then do it last. We're just explaining based on experience and based on what we think has worked for us over time and is working for many people. It's not 100%. It may be 98%, and you happen to be among the 2% that is not working for. That does not mean that it's not working for other people, is it? Many people from this explanation, when they do these things first, they tend to get the marks that they want or that they need. But if it's not working for you, go ahead, turn it the other way around. Since you already know the tips on what and what to look out for, go ahead, put the tips into action, okay, and use it. And you may improve. Okay, Angela, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Linda. Linda, you're raising your hand and you are unmuted. Go ahead. Grace, I'll remove you again if your video is still off. Can we move if Linda is not asking any question? I saw her hand and I was thinking that she has a question. Okay. Any other question on matching information? No question. We are going to labeling of a diagram. Has anybody seen labeling of a diagram in the course of your practice before? Have you seen labeling of a diagram? Has anyone seen labeling of a diagram?
Plenty, ma. Enough, more than enough.
Okay.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
I did labeling of a diagram in my exam. And I would have failed if not for help and grace and that I remembered certain things. That's what helped me. Okay. Now, you need to be very, very careful when it comes to labeling of a diagram. This is the strategy that I remembered while in the exam hall, and I was able to go back on my diagram. And because I even used pencil to start with, I just cleaned it and wrote the correct one. When I saw my result and passed, I compared and I knew that if those 10 questions that came, under the labeling of a diagram, if I had failed all of them, I would have not passed the exam. Okay. So yeah, labeling of a diagram, here, you will be given a particular diagram for you to explore. There are different kinds of diagram that you will find. can find a technical drawing of a machine, an invention, or something from the natural world, or a design or a plan. Okay. So we'll be talking about the common problems with this labeling of a diagram. Common problems with labeling of a diagram. Okay. One of them, or let me say the main challenge or issue with labeling of a diagram is that we focus so much on the diagram itself. We try to understand everything about the diagram, forgetting that unfamiliar diagram will cause you to panic and you lose time. Remember that the IELTS reading test is not a test of your technical knowledge when you see labeling of a diagram. It is a test of your reading skills. You should try to understand generally what is happening in the diagram, okay? But the relationship between the text and the diagram is much more important. Another big problem is that we fail to locate the paragraphs that contain the answers quickly. And so we lose time reading the whole of the text. Many people also write, the wrong number of words. That's a major challenge, or incorrect spellings. Let me tell you, if your spelling is incorrect, you automatically fail it. No examiner will correct it for you. That is one big challenge. The reading test, the writing test that we are doing, that we did, many people have sent to the mail. I've started responding. Unfortunately, I started responding from the people that sent today and yesterday. Can you imagine? Because of the way it is arranged, in my mail, I started from the top. As soon as I open it, I read and I responded. So you are most likely going to get your own response later if you had written on time. I'm sorry about that. It's my bad, really. But I'm responding already. For some of you, you have written it and you have shared a Word document with me. If you shared a Word document with me or as a PDF, I will have to go and download the PDF, all right, and have it saved on my phone before I'm able to open it using my own Microsoft Word and do the correction. That's a long process for me. Beside it being a long process for me, it's filling up my phone memory. So I am unable to download some. As soon as I see it is a PDF, I tell you what to do. I'm sure maybe 1 or 2 persons would have gotten my message. I'll tell you, please, can you write it as a mail? Write it, type it as a mail and send it to me as a mail. That way, even if I want to remove sentences in my vetting, I'll remove sentences. If I want to correct spelling, I can correct the spelling in the middle, put like a bracket, put my own, like edit that your mail and send it back to you. It makes it really easy. If I just want to read and correct, I can be typing my response to you and I'll be scrolling and reading at the same time. But if you send it as a PDF, it's going to make it really hard. I'm trying to find time so we can continue to have these classes. I'm sorry, I may not have extra time to add, to the timing for the vetting. So please write it as a mail. In the course of the corrections, I have seen that we have a big problem: spellings and grammar. Spellings and grammar. That's from all the ones that I've read. Spellings and grammar. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. I used to say that it is the background where we are coming from. But these people don't even know. They don't care about our background. They just want you to pass the exam. So please, as much as possible, your correct spelling, it goes a long way. In the IELTS reading test, in your labeling of a diagram, you will see in not more than 1 or 2 words or a number. If they say in not more than 1 or 2 words, it means that you can write 1 word. You can write 2 words, okay? You can write 3 words. You can write 1, 2, and 3. You can write a number. You can write a word and a number. You can write 2 words and a number. But you cannot write 3 words and a number. It means you can write less than 3, but you can't write more than 3. The moment you have written more than 3, automatically they cross it. We need to adhere to instruction. For some of us, it's not that we don't know the answer. The major challenge we have is with our instructions. We lose mark in this section by writing the wrong number of words or incorrect spelling. Okay? What are we going to do as our tips? Check how many words you have been told to write. It will tell you in the question. Okay? You write in not more than 1 or 2 and or a number. Then you need to know one thing, that there are some words that are hyphenated. Although it hardly comes, but once in a while you may find it. Who knows, maybe you'll find it in your own exam. Hyphenated words, they count as 1. When words are hyphenated, they count as 1. For example, counter reaction. Counter reaction. Counter hyphen reaction is 1 word. If you now go and write counter separate, space reaction, it's 2 words, they will mark you wrong. Another example is state of the art. State of the art. State of the art is state of the art, okay? There's hyphen. There are 3 hyphens between these 4 words. But they mark them as 1 word if you put the hyphens there. But if you write them separately, they are 4 words. And you are definitely going to have issues. Another tip that you need to know is that you should identify the type of word that is required, whether it is a noun, or it is a verb, or it is an adjective. This will help you to find the correct answer. Another thing you should note is that the answer do not always come in the same order that the paragraphs are in. So what do? You do the easiest questions first, because you are more likely to get the answers correct when the questions are easier. If you cannot find the answer to any difficult question, move on, come back later. Get the easiest ones first, so that the remaining time you can now come to the difficult one. Most of the times, the difficult questions in the whole of your IELTS test may not be up to 5. But because we don't know, when you see it is 1 and it's on your number 10, you will now spend time on it. You are there and time is going. Maybe you have a difficult question in multiple choice 1, leave it there. You have another one in another session, leave it and go. You have another one, highest you will have 4 or 5. If in the whole of the IELTS reading test, you get every other questions correct and you fail 5, you score 35, you have made your band. Do you know? You have made your band. But the time you are spending on that one question that is difficult is depriving you of the time that you would have had for the ones that are easier and that are still ahead of you. So what do? Leave them. As you come across this difficult question, I don't mean that any question you see, once you don't know it, you say it's difficult. No, it's not like that though. I mean the real difficult question. Leave it and move on. Come back to it later. You will find out that there are no more than 4 or 5. And in an IELTS test, your reading test, if, for example, you score 35 or 36 or 34, you have made a band 7. Escape and go. It's better than you wasting time and you don't finish at the end of the day. You need to finish. You need to finish, have extra 5 minutes, come back to your answers, correct your spellings, dot your I's, and cross your T's. Because when you have written a T and it's not crossed, it looks like an L. Your examiner will see it as a wrong spelling and they will mark you wrong. So you also need a few minutes for you to go through your answers. That's why you work with speed and caution. You get what I mean? Your child is sick, is convulsing, you don't know what to do. Let's assume you are not a nurse and this child is convulsing and you are in your car, your husband is not around, you are driving to the hospital, that's about 30 miles away from your house. You are speeding, but you need to be careful of the potholes or else you and the child will end up dead. That is how IELTS test is. You need speed and caution, careful speed. Speed in such a way that you don't throw caution into the wind. Read in such a way that you are not too fast that you don't understand, you don't comprehend, and at the end, you don't choose the right answers. That is how IELTS test is, okay? So, you need to predict the answer before you read the text. Once you see the diagram, have a look, check the questions. Before you read the text, you should predict the answer. That way, when you find the answer, you will easily identify it. Okay? Check how many words you can write, your strategy. Study the diagram and try to understand generally, Don't spend too much time doing this. Highlight any keywords or any labels that you see. Identify the types of words that is required and then try to predict your answer. You scan the text and identify where this information is located. Read in more detail to find the answer. Check your spellings. That's all you need in labeling of a diagram. When I did my IELTS test, as soon as you open the question, it was a diagram of a machine that I've never seen, I've never thought of in my life. And then, first of all, I was confused with that machine. So what I did was, I had missed the answer to question 1. And then I brought the answer to question 2 to number 1, the answer to question 3 to number 2, and I brought everything from back to front, a step ahead. But when I finished, I was looking for the answer to number 10. And I'm like, I'm too sure of the answer to number 10. So why is the answer to number 10 on number 9? This is the answer to my number 10. I won't forget though, because when you had a bad experience, that thing will stick in your brain. I'm not like, what is happening? I'm too sure of this answer. So why are they? Then I now wiped it from 9, brought it to 10. Something now told me to go back. Then I went back. I remember the strategy that I've read. Then what I did was, because I didn't want to forget it, before I clean, I clean the previous one and write the answer there front. Then at the end of the day, I was able to arrange it. And then I was looking for answer to number 1. I didn't get the answer to number 1 until they were about saying submit. I was still wondering, how can I leave number 1 blank? The whole number 1 far. So if my examiner see it and see number 1 blank, first of all, they will say I'm unserious. Only God knows how many that I would have left blank. But to the glory of God, somehow the answer came in and I wrote it. I don't know whether I passed that particular number, but I know I wrote the answer. You write an exam and there are some answers you are sure of. I was so sure of the numbers of some of them that when I saw the mix-up, I was easily able to identify it. Your own may not be like that, and that's why you need these strategies. That's why you need the strategies. Okay. Linda, I don't know why you cannot hear me. I don't know why. Can you hear me now? Type a message if you can hear me. Because here also, I can see that your mic is not on. If you can't hear me, what I will advise you to do is log out, log in again. And as you are logging in, you will see something about connecting with audio and all of that. Click on it. Then you'll be able to hear me. I hope that works for you. So you will be able to do this if you follow the strategies. Does anyone have any question on diagram, labeling of a diagram?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Not really. I wanted to clarify something you said. You said if they said not more than 3 words and or a number, that you should not write up to 3 words with a number. If I get you right, I want to confirm.
You didn't get me right. I said don't write more than.
3 words.
You can write
Okay,
up to 3 words, but don't write more than. You can write 1 word. Don't write more than 3. You can write 2 words. Don't write more than 3. It means that you can write less than 3, but not more than 3. It means you can write 3, you can write 2, you can write 1, but not more than 3. Do you understand now? Good. Thank you. No other question. We are moving over to sentence completion. You know, this one too, there's always an instruction to it. No more than 2 words from the text. Complete the sentence. You always see it. Or not more than 2 words. They'll just write no more than 2 or 3 words. If they write from the text, there's a different approach. If they don't write from the text, it's a different approach. We are going to be discussing it. So in sentence completion types of questions, you will be given a number of sentences with gaps in them and asked to complete the sentences with words from the reading text. These questions, they are like vocabulary tests as much as they are reading tests, because you are required to, be aware of paraphrasing, be aware of the use of synonyms, okay? Note that if an instruction says no more than 2 words from the text for each answer, it means that we can write 1 or 2 words only. If we write any more than this, we get the question wrong. Also, we should also remember that when it says from the text, it means we can't change the word from the text. Do you understand? When it says from the text, it means we can't change the word. But if it does not say from the text, then you can change the words. Then you can have synonyms. The word limit and whether we should use words from the text or not, okay, they change the question. They can change from question to question. So you need to read very carefully. You need to read very, very carefully. Paraphrasing and synonyms, they are the major actors in the reading text, and especially in your sentence completion. In order to do well on the IELTS reading test, you have to understand what paraphrasing and synonyms are and what they do. Because Cambridge used them a lot in the reading and listening test, and you are expected to use them in your writing and speaking. So the need for synonyms cannot be overemphasized. They will use them in your reading and in your listening. You will use them in your writing and in your speaking. Paraphrasing, what is paraphrasing? Simply rephrasing or saying the sentence using different words, okay, while maintaining the meaning. I have said this thing over and over, and I'll keep saying it to portray the importance, okay? This is important because we have to understand how, know how Cambridge works, how they actually mark the English reading test in order for you to be successful, okay? And in order for me to come and carry you from the airport. The people who write the test, they take a piece of writing and then they use it to paraphrase, okay? And they put synonyms in it to ask many questions. So if you don't understand this, it's like you walking in the dark and you don't have any light with you. When you understand it, you will suddenly become very, very, very clear with all of this, and your world will become brighter. And you are all ready to write your English test and to come to the United Kingdom or to the US or wherever you want to go to. Now, there are common questions and problems that we have with all of them, and I've been discussing it like I have been doing. So for the sentence completion, what are our common problems? Number one, the main problem is we trying to match words in the question with exactly the same words in the reading text. Instead, you should be looking for words that have the same meaning, like paraphrases and synonyms. Another problem is that people don't read the instructions properly. And so we write many words, too many words, or not writing the same words as in the reading text as discussed, as we talked about earlier. Like if they say you should use the same words, if the instruction says use the same words, then my dear, don't change it. But if it doesn't, then you can change. Another thing is this. Many people will read the text before the question. This is confusing. And then you waste time. So what do? Read the questions first. You know why? Because as you are reading the question, there's gap in between them. It's looking like summary completion. So you'll be able to have your own word already. In that way, the moment you are reading the passage, you'll be able to quick pick the words faster. Wow. Now, the main thing you are going to be doing for me in sentence completion is that you should check how many words you can write. If it says no more than 2, you can write 1 or 2. If it says no more than 3, you can write 1, 2, or 3. Remember that numbers also, numbers as in 1, 2, 3, they are counted as words. For example, 72 is 1. Remember, 1 is 1, but 72 is 1 word. Do you get my point? 72 or 10. 10 is not counted as 1 and 0. It's counted as 1 word. 1 number. Do you understand? When you have 1,500, it's counted as 1 word. It's not going to be counted as 1, 5, 0, 0, making it 4. Do you understand? Somebody is looking at me like I'm speaking Latin. Angela, do you understand? That when you have, for example, 1,500 people, that is counted as 2 words, because there is the number, which is 1,500, and there is people, which is 1 word. So they are all what? 2 words. Remember, when you have 2 people, 2, which is one alphabet. No, 1, what do you call them again?
2.
1 number now. It's number now. Which
Yes,
is a number. 2 is a number. Abi, it's counted as 1 word. Then people is counted as 1 word. Meaning that if you write 2 and you write people, it is 2 words. If you have 10, which is 1 and 0, and you write people, it's not going to be counted as 1, 0, people, 3. No, it's going to be counted as 10 and people, which is 2 words. Do you understand? Good. So that you don't confuse yourself and you say, there's 1,500. If I write it now in words, it's going to be too many. That's one logic for you to write not more than 2, 3 words like they have said. Because by the time you go and write 1,000, 1 is a word, 1,000 is a word, 5 is a word, 100 is a word. You have messed the whole thing up. So even if you have it like the say in words in the passage, and you want to put it in your summary, that's in your completion, you can pick the number to write. Instead of writing 75 people making 3 words and you are asked to write 2 words, you should write 7 and 5 and people. That way you have passed. It's logic. These people want to know how you can use your brain. It's our brain that they are after. They just want our brain. Your brain to be active and to work. It's true. That's what they are after. They want to see how calculative you are, how imaginative you are. They want to see how innovative you can be to fit in. And it starts not when you come here to write OSCE. It starts from the English test that they are setting for you, both in OET and in IELTS. So if you think of those logic, you too, you will catch them here, not here where they will go like this and they are gone. You will hold them very well. The worst thing is it is Nigerians who have been trained that are marking these exams. If you are writing in Nigeria or in South Africa, it is people from your country who have been trained that are marking the exam. It's not necessarily British people going to those countries to go and mark. It only comes to Britain when there are problems, okay, like people applying for remarks in writing, and then they will now bring it and say, okay, let's go through it. Let the real English people, they will say, it's a long process to remark exam. They bring it and Cambridge examiners are the ones that will mark it at the end of the day. That's what I heard. I've never applied for a mark before they will say, no, Joy says so and so thing, and somebody said, no, I'm telling you from what I heard. Okay, so that aside, if you know the logic, you will be able to pass this exam without, surpassing the number of words that you are supposed to write in your summary completion or in your sentence completion. Does it make sense to anybody? It does make sense. Good. So the answers will appear in the same order as the question. That's one good thing. For instance, if you find the answer to number 4 in paragraph 3, please don't go back to paragraph 2 to look for the answers to number 5. They progress, okay? There is this cohesion between them. They just keep moving. They keep going. So the answer to number 3 will be below the answer to number 2. You don't need to go back. All right? Okay. Now, also remember that your answer should be grammatically correct. Very, 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 very important. Check the type of words that fit in. I told us from the beginning. You need to check the type of word, whether it is a noun, it is a pronoun, or is it a verb, or is it an adjective. Check the type of words that fit in the space. Okay, it will help you to answer the question correctly. When scanning for your answer, please make sure that you are thinking about paraphrases and synonyms, except you are otherwise instructed. Find where the answer is located, okay, in the text before you try to answer the question. Remember where before what. Remember where before what. Read the questions carefully and read the questions before you read the text, like your multiple choice. Read the questions before you read the text. Okay. All right, so what did we say to summarize our strategy? Read the instructions carefully, noting how many words you have been asked to write. whether they want you to include the exact words from the question or not. Read the incomplete sentences first. That way, you think about the words that may be used to fill in that space. And at the end of the day, you are able to predict the answer. Also, you think about keywords and how they could be represented by synonyms or paraphrases in the text. Locate where the answer, where the information is by scanning quickly. If you can't locate the answer quickly, please move on, like I used to say. Come back to it. Read the incomplete sentences first. Read it again. Study the reading text more carefully to establish your answer. Check your spellings, dot your I's, cross your T's, repeat the other for the other sentences, making sure that your answer is grammatically correct. Are we clear? Any question on sentence completion? Angela, you are raising your
Yes.
hand. Go
Yes,
ahead.
please. There's something you said about exact way. You said, made mention of something text. I don't think I've ever seen such an instruction before. All what I used to see in sentence completion is usually something like 2 words, no more than 2 words from the passage. I don't think I've ever seen something on text because I didn't really.
What is a text? What is a passage?
Text
Are
is the
they the
write up.
same? Passage is what? It's a write
Passage
down.
is, yeah, everything. Yes, all the thing that was written about the.
Passage is a write down, while text is a write up. Don't mind me. Angela, text and passage is the same thing. Okay? See, your son is laughing at you. Your mommy is struggling. Your mommy want to travel abroad. They are there laughing. Better pray for her. Okay, so text and passage, they mean the same thing. Okay, and I remember saying it because I said it from the beginning, Abby, that I'll be using them interchangeably. All right. Text, passage is kindergarten compared to text. All right. Text is not only text messages, so it's not SMS. A text is a write-up. A passage is a write-up. While growing up in English language, we were told about text. We're told about passages. Now we have grown, we are talking about text. While growing up, we're talking about compositions. Now we have grown, we are talking about articles. Okay? They are all the same thing. Are they not? They tell you to write a composition about your holiday, how you spent your Christmas break. Now you are writing an article about your last leave. How did you spend your last leave or your last break? No longer holiday. Okay? So that is it, my dear. They are the same thing. Don't mind me. So from the same passage, from the same text, they are the same. When you see text, you see passage, they are the same.
Okay, so when they want you to pick exactly, maybe they will give you a list of words on the box, then you now pick which one is appropriate.
That is one aspect. But another aspect is they will tell you from the passage. If they say from the passage, they're not going to give you a list of words. Summary completion will give you a list of words. Sentence completion will not give you a list of words. Those are two different types of questions. The same way we talked about topic, what is it called? Matching heading and matching information. Summary completion will give you a list of words to complete the summary. Matching heading is different from matching information. Summary completion is different from sentence completion. I am going to summary completion now after sentence completion. Maybe that will clear your doubt. Summary completion is a different form of IELTS exam from sentence completion. Sentence completion is as it is pronounced, that is, it says sentence completion. Summary completion is a summary of the whole passage, of the whole text. They now give you the words that you've put into that passage to make it grammatically correct, to still give the same information, but in a shorter form. Okay? In summary completion, you'll be given a summary of information from the text, and there will be some gaps in that summary. You will either be given a list of words to fill the gaps with, or asked to find your answers in the reading text. In a situation where you are asked to find your answers in the reading text, it is called sentence completion. You will either be given a list of words for summary completion, okay? Your job here is just to insert some of the words from the list into the gaps. And if you are asked to find from the text, it's for you to find from the text and fill the gaps. There will usually be more words in the list than is required, but you will see that you won't be in trouble after you have put in all the words, 1, 2, 3, 4, accordingly. All of the information contained in the summary will also be contained in the reading text, but they will use synonyms and paraphrases, so don't expect to see the same exact words. Summary completion questions will test your ability to understand the general meaning of the summary, your ability to scan, your ability to identify synonyms and paraphrases. For sentence completion, you are given passages to read the passage and pick your answers. For summary completion, there is the passage, then there's a summary of that passage with gaps in them. Are you getting me? And sometimes in the middle of that, you will see the numbers, they insert the numbers. For example, if it is a summary completion for numbers 20 to 28, you will see that in the course of your reading along, it's not going to be 20, 29, 28, 29, whatever. It's going to be in between. You will see them writing, okay, Joy dash dash, then the next number will be maybe 17 in bracket, dash dash dash, and then you put in your words. Those are the things, the answers, okay, for that particular passage. Do you get my words? Do you understand what I'm trying to explain? Is it confusing to anybody? Angela, are you confused? Blessing, are you confused?
I'm still trying to understand the summary and the sentence.
That's why the two of them are following each other, so the explanation can be much more easier. Summary completion, there's a passage, then they will pull out something from the passage, a summary of the whole passage. They will pull it out and put some gaps in it and ask you to complete it with some words, a list of words that they will give you. Okay? I don't have any Cambridge on this system.
Like fill in the gaps.
Exactly. Fill in the gaps. But sentence completion is also filling
the gaps.
Sentence completion is also filling the gap, but it is in sentences. and it is directly from the passage. It is not a summary of the passage.
Yes.
But summary completion is a summary of the whole passage. Do you get? So both of them are similar. One difference is that for summary completion, they will give you a list of words, while for sentence completion, nobody will give you a list of words. You will definitely not get a list of words. So those question types that you see that you should fill in the gap, but there's no list of words, is called sentence completion. Then the ones you see and there is a list of words is called summary completion. Summary completion is very easy compared to sentence completion. That is because when you have read the passage and you understand the passage, reading the summary, you will know what words you fill it in. And considering the number of words they have given you, you'll be able to put it in and you get your answers and go away. Angela.
Yes. Okay, please, I want to also clarify something. Then that means in the sentence completion, we are picking those sentences that complete the group, the words that will complete that sentence. We're picking it directly from the text and fixing it on that answer.
That's what I said.
Directly, okay.
That's what I said. But in summary completion, you will get it from the list of words that you will be given. One thing with the sentence completion is that sometimes in sentence completion, they will tell you to use the exact same words from the passage. I'm not sure it's still common. I'm not sure if you will come across it. Sometimes they will just tell you to complete these sentences. That way you should be looking for synonyms. Go into the passage and look for synonyms. In sentence completion, you are looking for your words to complete the sentence in your passage. While in summary completion, you are looking for words to complete your summary in the list. Do you understand now? Everybody understand? Tawa, you understand now? Marian, you have not said anything since so in this class. I hope you understand. Okay, so that's the difference. And I'm not going to explain too much again on summary completion since you have taken me there already. You have taken me to summary completion without us preparing before we got there. It's a good thing though. It's good. So you need to understand the general meaning of the summary. You need to scan for the correct information. You need to identify synonyms and then paraphrases. Okay. So what are the major problems that we face when we do summary completion questions? This kind of question, you should know that it does not entail you having any detailed understanding of the text. So you don't have to, lose a lot of time reading the whole text and trying to understand everything. You don't need to do it. Just focus more on the summary and the words that can complete that summary and complete it correctly. Fix it in. All right. Some people will read the summary and then look for exact same words in the reading text. Please don't look for exact same word when it comes to summary completion. You're unlikely to find because the examiners are going to be using synonyms and paraphrases. Please do not ignore grammar rules. What does it mean? Speaking tian in your writing. Arrow. Shooting. Errors in English. That's what it means. Don't ignore grammar rules. Okay? Don't ignore grammar rules when completing the summary, because if the sentences does not make any sense grammatically, then you have the wrong answer. The examiners will also try to trick you by putting a word from the text as one of the options, but that's not going to be the most correct of them. So you should not fall for that, their trick, okay? Don't fall for the trick. Recognize it and run. Instead, look for synonyms. Now, what are going to be your tips? I've said that you should try and predict the answer. It will help you to spot the correct answer when you see it. Okay? Know whether the gap is to be filled with a noun, a pronoun, an adverb, an adjective, and that you should make sure that your answer makes sense grammatically. Look for synonyms and paraphrases in the text rather than words that directly match. Don't spend too much time looking for answers to one question. If you can't find it, mark what you think it might be correct and move on. If not, come back and do it. Focus on doing the easier ones first, because the harder ones may come in between 1, 2, 3 just to distract you. Okay? The answers will normally come in the same order as the question. That's one good thing. The answers, they are all arranged. If you find the answer to number 4, the answer to number 5 is below the answer, it's below where you found the answer to number 4. Don't be going up and down, rigmaroling, beating around the bush. You will find your answer. So if you get a list of words, please think about the ones that can't be the correct answer because of the meaning or the grammar, so that you can eliminate the words that are not supposed to be there. All right? I have said that you should read the questions carefully. Note how many words. Normally, they'll tell you 1, 2, or 3. The highest you will find is 3. And whether you are to get a word from the list or to get from the reading passage. Skim the summary, try to understand the overall meaning. Try to predict your answer before you look at the reading text. Also think about the word type, noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, adjective. What kind of word should be included? If you have a list of words, try to guess which 2 or 3 the answer may be. Pay attention to words that, they are very close to themselves in meaning. Be very, very careful with words that have nearly the same meaning. And be careful with words like however, but, because they generally change the meaning of the whole sentence. Identify which part of the reading text the summary relates to, scan for synonyms, and then answer your question. When you have answered everything, read it again and make sure that you have the right words, you have the right spellings, your answer makes sense grammatically, and then you move on. Finally, last, not the least, in fact, the most difficult is our almighty true, false, not giving, yes, no, not giving. Oh my God, I am laughing because of the reaction that I'm seeing. Oh God, this class is so funny. I decided to make it last. You know why? Oh God. See, everybody is, what do people mean? What do you mean by that? What are you trying to say? What is wrong with our brother? Yes, no, not giving, and sister, true, false, not giving. Those two are married to each other forever. And until you agree with them, there's no moving forward. Okay. So, true, false, not giving. Yes, no, not giving. Let's go to those. Actually, it's becoming really easier now if you understand it. This kind of questions require you to identify whether an information in a text is true or not, or whether it is not there. You'll be given a number of factual statements, and you have to check the text to see if these statements are true, or they are not true, or they are not even there at all. It's probably the most difficult question on the reading paper, but can become the easiest if you understand the logic. First of all, you have to know that if the text agrees with or confirms that the information is there, then it is true. If the text contradicts or is the opposite to the information in the statement, then the answer is false. If there is no information or it is impossible for you to know, then the answer is not given. Okay? What are the common problems with this kind of questions? The biggest problem here is the not given option. Many people are not used to answering questions like this, and it causes a lot of problems because they are not sure what to look for. They also spend too much time. We spend too much time making sure that it is not given, and this affects the rest of their test. Because the information is not there, you are trying to be sure, am I sure this information is not here? If it is not there, it is not there. People fail to understand exactly what each statement means, and so they cannot identify whether it is true or false. And we focus on keywords instead of understanding what the whole statement means. Don't focus on keywords. Focus on the whole statement. It is the meaning of the statement. It is the general meaning of the statement. It is not a particular word there. All right. Another common mistake that we make is that we make a mistake in identifying keywords in the statement, and then we try to find words that exactly match them in the text. You can do this, but look for synonyms like I keep ringing. Many people also fail to understand exactly what true is, what false is, and what not given actually means, and it gets them confused. Now, we'll be looking at how to solve this, and we'll spend a little bit of more time on this one. So what does true, false, not given, what do they actually mean? The most important thing to remember is what the words true, false, and not given mean, and therefore what IELTS also want you to know. You have to know it. True means that the meaning is the same. If it is just similar, then it is false. Remember that we are dealing with factual information, so there's no room to say it is similar or nearly the same. True, false, not given is dealing with facts. President Muhammadu Buhari is the president of Nigeria. True or false? True is a fact. Nobody can dispute it. There were some notions and beliefs that certain cabals were the ones who are ruling Nigeria. We can't say, because the cabals are not constitutionally ruling the country. So it is false when you say cabals are the ones in control of Nigeria, when in the actual sense it is supposed to be the president of Nigeria being in control of the affairs of the country. So the fact is, it's not an assumption, it is not your opinion, it is not about somebody's suggestion. True, false, not given has to do with facts. What is clear, it is true in the passage. To practice as a nurse in Nigeria, you must have been trained in a recognized school or university of nursing. You must have passed the final qualifying exams of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. You must have entered into the registered and be issued with an up-to-date and a valid license to practice as a nurse in Nigeria. True or false? True. Auxiliaries who are unregistered are practicing in Nigeria. True or false? How can you say it's true? You are assuming based on what I have just said now. The truth is, the fact is, to practice as a registered nurse. Did you hear that word, registered nurse? To practice as a registered nurse in Nigeria, you must have passed through the period of training in the schools of nursing or university, written the final qualifying exam of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, been registered into the register, been documented into the register, given a license to practice as a nurse in Nigeria. True or false?
True.
Midwives are practicing
True.
as nurses in Nigeria. True or false?
False.
Because they are not registered nurses.
Yeah.
They said
they are
to
not.
practice as a registered nurse. They didn't say as a registered nurse or midwife. They didn't say to practice as a registered nurse and midwife. They didn't say to practice as a registered midwife. The fact, the obvious, what the sentence, the statement is saying, the fact about it is either true, or it is false, or it is not given. Okay? You don't have to write any exams to practice as a nurse in Nigeria. True or false?
Oh.
The opposite is false. We are not wrong. The statement said that you must have written an exam and passed, isn't it? So the opposite of it, once it contradicts, it is false. Once it is opposite, it is false. Once you cannot find the information, then it is not given. To practice as a registered nurse in Nigeria, based on the statement I made earlier, you must wear a white uniform.
Not given.
False.
Not given.
Not given. Nobody said in this statement that I made, I didn't mention anything about uniform, did I?
No.
But because of your mentality of knowing that we wear white uniform, now you are telling me it's true. So first of all, you need to unlearn what you already know about that particular statement. You need to remove from your head. Maybe you have a prior knowledge of something on this particular topic that they are talking about. Please remove it. Work based only on the text that you are given. Don't add to it. Don't subtract from it. Eh? For woe unto them that add or subtract to IELTS questions, for they shall have a low band. So please, you just see, as I'm teaching and explaining it now, it's becoming really easy for me. Do you get the point? Once it is there, it is there. Once it is not there, it is not there. Once it is saying the opposite of what is there, then it is false. That is true, false, not given. Okay? People will argue with themselves during practice and say that the statement is true because it's kind of true. There's nothing like kind of true in these questions. It's only facts. It's only facts. Okay? It is because it's not compulsory to be a nurse and wear white. That is why people are wearing scrubs and practicing as registered nurses. And that is why people are wearing white and practicing as unregistered nurses. I purposely did not add that bit to it. Very important for you to note that just because an answer is not given does not mean that there are no words in the statement that matches the word in the text. It confuses people, but the truth is the words does not completely match what is in the statement. That is why you cannot say it is given. Because you can't say, I said to practice as a nurse. In the statement, it is there that to practice as a nurse. So you can't say, okay, to practice as a nurse is there, so it may be true or false, and the answer cannot be not given. It is the meaning, the general meaning of the whole statement. The white uniform has disqualified everything, so that statement is not given. Okay? I pray that God will give us understanding, because it's actually a very tricky part of the text.
Amen. Amen.
Tips for you is that you should ignore anything that you already know about the topic and don't make any assumptions. Base your answers on the text only. Identify any words that qualify a statement. For example, some, all, mainly, often. Now, let's see this one. Okay. All registered nurses in Nigeria, all registered nurses must wear a white uniform. Is it true or false? Based on what you know about nursing. Based on what you know about nursing generally, is it true or false?
False.
False.
I heard somebody say not given. The answer is not given. No, the answer is false, because people wear different uniforms. Different nurses in different departments, even in the same hospital. People in Nigeria in the government hospitals are going to scrubs now. Labor room is going into green scrubs, pediatrics blue, pink. You know, gradually people are changing and things are. So generally, based on what you and I know about nursing, we know that it is false. Okay? Yes, but if I had made a statement, usually they'll make a statement. If I had made a statement, and in that my statement, I have said that all registered nurses must have passed the Nursing and Midwifery Council exam, been registered in the, included in the register, given a license to practice, and must have white uniforms. If I had made that statement, and then I go and ask a question and I say, to practice as a registered nurse in Nigeria, you must wear a white uniform. What is the answer?
True. True.
You are getting it. Now you are getting it. Despite the fact that you have a background knowledge that not all nurses are wearing white, but you have seen, based on the question, based on the statement that I made before I asked you this question, I have made mention of a white uniform. Okay, so it is true. It is not compulsory for all registered nurses to wear a white uniform in Nigeria. True or false?
False, based on your statement.
Exactly, false. Because based on my statement, I have said I must. Yes. And then with all of the statement, and I said white. So white is a must based on my statement. All registered nurses in Nigeria may or may not wear a white uniform. True or false?
Not given.
Not given.
Blessing, what is your answer? You must answer this one.
I think it's not given. I'm still trying to.
You think it's not given? Sufiano, what is your answer?
Okay, no, it's false. It's false.
The answer is false.
Because
do you know why it is false?
No, ma.
Because I had already said white is a must.
Yeah.
I can't come and say may or may not.
Mhm.
It is the opposite of what I have said. And that makes it false.
Okay.
If I had said something that I did not say in my statement,
Okay.
then, okay, all registered nurses must have gone to the schools of training in Nigeria, be included, written and passed the exams, be included in the register for nurses and midwives, be issued a license to practice in Nigeria, and must have been taught or tutored by nurses while in school. That one, the answer is obvious. What is the answer?
Not giving. Not
There's
giving.
no mention of it at all. Nobody is talking about, did I mention anything about tutors? No. So you see, in not giving, it does not mean that a part of the a part of the statement is not in it. It does not mean
Not there.
that. It is there, but that with one or two words or statements, it has altered the entire paragraph or the entire statement untrue, or it has proven it that it is not correct and it is not false. So it is now not given. That's where you make mistake. It does not mean that there's no part of it there. They are not going to bring in a different statement from the book.
That's the
They will
problem.
still put something about the correct passage in, the correct statement in there, but there's something that we say that will make it impossible for you to know. It is impossible for you to know because it was not mentioned. That is why it is not given.
Giving.
True and false are easy because it is either there or it is saying the opposite of it.
Oh my God.
It is either correct or saying the opposite of it. But when the statement you cannot, you don't know because there's nothing to confirm it, then it is not given.
Yes, ma'am.
True or false is factual. Yes or no is assumption. That's the difference.
Giving.
Now, I want you to know that in all of your writing tests, if you see true or false,
Okay.
if they give you true, false for 5 questions, in those 5, you must have an answer
True or
that is
false, an
true,
assumption.
an answer that is false, and an answer that is not given. All the 3
False.
elements must appear in your answer. If you finish writing and all your answer is true, you are wrong. If all is false, you are wrong. If all is true, false, you are wrong. If it's true, not given, true, not given, or false, not given, false, not given, you are wrong. It has to be, there must be a true, there must be a false, and there must be a not given. Do you understand? It's a rule. It's a basic rule that everybody knows, and you must know it. Ignore anything that you already know. I've said it before and I'm still saying it again. Don't look for words that exactly match those words in the statement, but the meanings can match themselves. You should look for synonyms. Remember that you are matching the meaning and not the words. You see, we are matching the meaning of the statement. Sure, you know, it's not the words that we are matching. If it was the words, then we would say the last one that the answer is true. If you can't find the information you are looking for, it's probably not given. Don't waste your time looking for that information because it's probably not there because it is not given. If you have no idea what the answer is, please put not given. You probably have no idea because the answer is not there. The answer for this one, as hard as it is the same order as they appear in the text. If you find the answer to number 1 in paragraph 2, don't go back to paragraph 1 to look for the answer to number 2. Look for it following each other. There's a cohesion, there's a flow. It comes from A to B to C. The same thing with the options, all right? Answers are in the same order. With this, we have come to the end of the reading text. If there is any question, please ask it now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, a little cut of law.
Any question on this? The next reading question we are going to do I will try as much as possible to download one of the Cambridges and have it here so that I will briefly mention the type of question and we will go and do a type of reading under it. Do we agree?
Yes.
And you must all participate. It's not me. I'm not going to look for the answers. So it's you people that will bring the answers out. That day is going to be sharing of screen. Mama Marian.
Yes, ma.
You know, you always have issues when I share my screen. I don't want you to have issues again.
Okay,
so by
ma.
next, I'm telling you ahead so that you prepare. What you should do is to take a screenshot, okay? Once I share the screen, take a screenshot so that you can be looking at it, even when that part has gone off the screen.
Okay, ma.
That way, if you are on Zoom and it's a video Zoom, and you are on video like this and you snap something and you are looking at that something, it won't take you away from the video. We will still be seeing you. It is you that will not see us on your screen because you have gone off video. You are seeing something else. So you don't have to worry about that, okay? Then you can have your phone on your hand like this and be looking at the questions and you'll be participating as you are hearing us. It is better for everybody to get some earpods or earpiece or whatever to use because it will entail you, maybe if you are using your phone, going on and off from the screen of your phone, having to think and to write at the same time so that you don't have issues with following the class. I'm just giving us like a prompt ahead of time, okay? Christiana,
thank you.
Your hand is up. Ask your question. Angela, your hand is up. Christiana has gone off. Angela,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. When we started, you told us to make available Cambridge 15 and 14.
Okay. Do you
So
have
myself,
it?
yes, I've worked on them. The Cambridge 15, I got, highest I scored was 37. On the average, I was scoring 22.
It's good that you are practicing. When do you intend to write the exam?
Hopefully, maybe December.
December, from now to December is a long time for you to practice. By November, you should be scoring 40 over 40.
Okay.
If you keep practicing. I'm telling you what I know from experience. I've told you people before, I had less than 2 weeks to practice and God helps me. I've heard other people's testimonies. Considering the fact that it's not everybody that can assimilate or that can understand quick, we have to give room for everybody's space. Okay, you need to learn at your own pace. And one thing that is my prayer, and God knows I pray it, is that I like to hear stories of people writing the IELTS exams once. It's not to show to anybody that, hey, I am a guru. No. The exam is expensive. The exam is mentally draining. You are about to write IELTS, you have registered, and your heart is doing bish bish every day. You are having palpitations. So it's my prayer that everybody that wants to write this exam should write it once. When you write this exam once and pass by, in the next 1 month that is following the exam, I tell you the truth, you will add weight. Because you will become so relaxed, everything will now be, CBT is moi. CBT is your nursing practice. That's why I advise people, they say they want to write CBT first. I say, no, don't write CBT first. Write IELTS first. Once you pass IELTS, I passed my IELTS the next, 2 weeks time, I registered for CBT and I wrote the CBT. I have CBT material that if you are ready to write CBT now, if you have passed IELTS and you are writing CBT now, I will give you my CBT materials. I will tell you what app to download and answer questions. And if you score an average of a particular number there, I will tell you, oh yeah, go and write CBT tomorrow. And you will write and pass. So this IELTS exam, you need practice. You need to practice.
Wow.
Anybody in this class, I said it that none of you in this class should write earlier than October. That will give you time to practice, time to also relax, and above all, time to also pray. Because if you write very well, your writing is good, your reading is good, your listening is good. If you go and meet a bad examiner on your speaking date and somebody fails speaking, you are still where you are. So you need to pray. We can't depend on ourselves for any of these exams. Despite the fact that they keep saying they don't victimize in IELTS and all of that, they won't physically victimize you. But there are some examiners that they won't say anything. No, you looking at their face alone, you are already demoralized. I'm telling you from people's experience, and I do understand it perfectly. So what I'm saying in essence is this: Angela, you are doing very well. You need to keep practicing. Cambridge 15 is recent, is revised. Cambridge 14 is good, 13. I said from 12 upwards, okay? Cambridge 1 to 11 or 10, they are much older, but these recent ones are like, they are not like us in our country. They work on their things and they add things that are up to date. You see, you will find recent questions. You'll be surprised that people are already answering questions about computers being the major form of learning. Writing tasks. People are doing that because they are setting those questions now because of the pandemic that has turned everything into visual, like children learning with computers, even adults. My son, who is in college, is also using computers to study. They are going to be doing lectures online as well. They are trying to minimize contact with people as much as possible. So prepare with questions that has to do with the use of technology for learning, use of technology for education. Okay, has to do topics that has to do with crisis management. Okay, that has to do with the decadence in the society. Topics that has to do with distance education at the moment. Those are the kind of questions that you'll be finding, these days. That's because of the happenings. Things that has to do with the pandemic, the global effect of certain things. So you'll be seeing, if you see like a cause and effect, you may see a two-way question, like a question asking that due to the pandemic, many families have been affected as the major breadwinners have lost their jobs. Then they will now ask, what are the effects of unemployment or job losses? Okay? And what are the possible ways to prevent them? Now, you see, I've just formed a question for you. These are the questions you are going to see, a two-way question like this. Or you see a one-way question that will tell you, as a result of the recent pandemic, parents, some people think that it is safer for children to be more involved with online learning using technology. Some say this and this, while others think that there are negative consequences. Discuss both views and give your opinion. They are taking you to relate the pandemic with the use of computers. They are taking you to have an opinion. It can come in two ways, where they say some are suggesting that computers should be used for learning, for teaching. Do you agree or disagree? Or to what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, negative consequences. So you will see that the whole thing is interconnected. The world is gone global. If they are updating, they will be updating using the recent things. But we may still be asking 1960 questions. I saw one of your writing that one of you sent to me. You are giving me a research of 2004. Under normal circumstances, how many years research did we say we can quote when we were writing our research in nursing school?
10 years.
10 years.
I beg, help me. 2000, it is almost 2024. And you are giving me a research of 2004. If you must put a research, please bring a recent research. These people are improving. So you too, go with the trend. Go and study the recent Cambridges. Cambridge textbook is good. Because see, let me tell you, they don't bring word for word questions, okay? But they repeat questions. They repeat questions. They trickishly repeat questions. If you study enough, if you do Cambridge 13, 1 to 4, you do 14, 1 to 4, you do 15, 1 to 4, there's no way you will not come across a similar question. No way. You will come across one question that is similar. I tell you, especially the writing tasks. And the speaking. In fact, speaking, they used to repeat yakpa. They used to repeat enough. So please, Angela should keep practicing. Others should join in. I will try. Okay, if somebody can send a reminder to the Telegram group, if I can't do it, I'll tell Mr. Tunde to do it and send it to me so that we can, and if you have it as PDF, please send it to the group. If you have any of the Cambridges, 13, 14, 15, as PDF, does anyone have it?
I have.
Thank you. Please send it to the group so that me too, I will download it and keep it. Then my own part will be to identify the types of questions, okay, especially these true, false, not given. We'll identify them, sentence completion, so that as I'm doing the sentence completion, giving you the tips, I will put the question on the screen and we are able to solve it. So it gives you a better understanding of what we are saying. Okay? Are we okay?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. As for today's class, I have come to the end of today's class.
Thank you so much.
If you have
Thank
any
you, ma'am.
question, please
God
send
bless
it
you,
to the
ma'am.
group, the IELTS group, the email,
Okay.
and then be patient with me a little bit. I'll go over the writing task. Has anybody written and you've not gotten a response? I know Fafa will be number one.
Yes, I have not.
I don't even know
Yes,
what is
ma'am.
happening. Am I
I've not
ignoring
gotten.
some? I don't know. But if you have gotten
It's
a
like you're
response,
ignoring mine.
has anybody gotten a response?
No, I've not gotten.
Yes, somebody has got Abba now. Don't say that. Somebody has gotten a response.
ma'am.
But those of you that I said you should
I've
type,
not gotten.
please
I've
just
not
copy it. Let me give you a clue. Copy it from
my
your Word.
essay.
Sorry, what did you say? Uchama, what did you say? You are muted now. You are muted.
I've not gotten a response for I've not gotten a response for my essay.
I will respond.
Yes, I've not gotten a response for my essay.
I will respond. I had to cancel my night shift today.
Thank you, ma'am.
I had a bank shift that I thought of it that, okay, look at the time I'm going to finish. Let's say 6:45. And then by 7, I will start going to work. I had to just cancel it. And I said, Kai, I want to sleep. I'll finish this class and sleep. So I'll go to work tomorrow. Between the time I'll come back from church and whatever, I'm going to see if I can respond to as many as I can, okay? So just give me
So
this
you
week.
can cancel your duty.
It's a bank one. That's the one. It's my overtime shift. The one that they pay me for. Yes.
Okay.
So I've decided to lose over 100,000 now because of this class.
Yeah.
So you see.
Wow.
I'm just telling you that I will have. We're just talking as a family. I had to cancel the shift, not just for the class, but I needed to rest as well. I've been working really hard for some days and I need to rest. So I said, instead of me postponing the class again, ordinarily I could cancel the class and say I will sleep between the time of the class, wake up and go to work. But I felt, let's just do this thing. At least it's helping 1 or 2 persons, even though they are passing and they are not They don't want village people to follow them
No,
so
we'll
that they
let you
won't
know.
show
We'll let
us.
you know.
No, please. No,
Don't
please.
worry,
Our
village
own
people will
will
not
say
follow
it.
anybody.
We'll
Village
say it.
people cannot follow anybody. That's the truth. Now we be the village people where they follow ourselves.
No. Village people
Some
no
of us
follow.
are untouchable for village people.
Yes, sir.
It's not pride. Some of us are untouchable. They don't tire with us. They don't know what to do with us, so they have ignored us. As in,
Yes, sir.
we are useless to them. They can't do anything with us. The power of Jesus and the power of our mouth has made us useless to them. They can't do anything to us again. You can't come in the physical and I tell you, you can do me nothing. And you come in the spiritual. I am aggressive, I am angry, and I attack you. So that is just that one. Forget that side. So what I'm saying is, give me a little time. I am going to go through the work. Probably tomorrow, many of you will get response, I promise. And even this night, when I've rested a bit, I may work. So yeah, if you get your correction, please do the correction. It's not for me. In fact, it's work for me. It's work for my brain. But I want you to get the right thing. I want you to get the right thing. Okay. Fafa, send me a private message when we finish.
Yes.
There's something I need to let you know. So
Okay.
as much as possible, please, let's do our bit. Invite others that you think will need these classes. I'm coming, Onyinye. And then let you yourself, you can go back. You know, you can go back to the class and watch it on YouTube, right? Go back and watch it on YouTube. If there's any confusion that you have, contact me, let me know. Something about you repeating information, it sticks. It sticks. Some of you are in the classroom now, you are not jotting anything. You may forget. So if you forget, please go back to the YouTube class, YouTube page and try to listen. Blessing, what do you want to say?
In the written that I sent to you, I sent it as a Word document. I don't know. So should I still change it or
If you
something?
have sent it as a Word document, what you should do is go to your Word document, open it as you can read, copy it, then start writing a mail to me and paste it. Write it as a mail. It means I have not seen it. If not, I would have responded. If you do that now, then I don't have to tell you to do it again. And please, when you write, correct your errors before you send to me or to anybody at all. Correct your errors. They are trying to say IELTS should go electronic, where people will start typing. If you start typing and you are not used to typing, and it comes to exams alone, you may not do very well. Type and make sure that your phone does not do autocorrect for you without you knowing. Okay, some phones and computers will do autocorrect and type something different from what you want to type. And that way, I will criticize you for it. I will crucify yourself, and I will think that it's wrong English or wrong use of words or word formation, and I'll mark you wrong. Meanwhile, you know the correct thing. So please read through your work before you send it to anybody. And if it is written, even in your book, read through it before you conclude, okay? That way you'll be able to make corrections, cross your T's and dot your I's, and you will have a perfect score that you desire. From me to you tonight, this is the end of the class.
Excuse me, ma. I want a question to ask, please.
Okay.
Please, like this listening test, sometimes when I do it, I'll get like 31 or so. But if I mark it, do I still need to redo that particular one again?
Do another one.
Okay.
Do another one, because you know why? When you mark it yourself, you have somehow seen the answers.
The answer,
so you will just go and pick the answers. Do another one. And then take note of the particular sessions that you are always failing. To some people, it's section A, section B, or section 1 or 2. Note that particular session and be more careful when you get to that session.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Any other question? Rihanna.
Hello, ma.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, ma.
Yes, I can hear you, Moturayo.
Yes, ma. This is my first time of joining this.
You are welcome. Let's clap for her. She's a first time member.
Thank you so much, ma. I don't have your email that I can send my so I can vet it for me. So
I
I don't.
think it's overseas nurses IELTS@gmail.com.
Okay.
Oversee nurses IELTS@gmail.com.
Okay. Are they joined together? Like,
Yes.
thank you so much, ma. I really appreciate
I
this.
don't
Has
know
been
how somebody got my personal email here that they are sending me work. I don't know. And I don't give it out like that. I don't know how comes.
From the Telegram. It's on the Telegram. Oh.
Are you serious? I just
Yes,
want
please
to,
go and check. Is there?
I want to have a place for the IELTS work. You know? If it's my personal email, I may just see the heading, I may not attend to it immediately. But if it's the IELTS, I want to know that this is IELTS group. When I come to this email, it's all about IELTS. I'm going to remove it from there, so that I can have the IELTS work on one aspect. It's safer for you, it's better for all of us, you know. So I don't mix it up and then I forget about such a message. Don't send it to my personal one, even if you have it, because I may not respond to it like I will when it comes to the IELTS side. So Motrayo, you've gotten the address, yeah? No other questions. Any other question? No. Going,
Oh, ma.
gone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
You too, ma.